Welcome to the Lone Jack Totally Off Track podcast, a family ran show with myself, Amanda, and my husband, Nolan, and my brother, Matthew, that is, well, a little bit off track. We will cover a wide range of topics. We don't take ourselves too seriously, and you shouldn't either. Thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy the show.
Oh my God, he's big.
Look at General. He got a bath. He got a bath today because he was rolling around in the horse and cow poop.
Aww.
Okay, go to your kennel. Careful.
Your kennel.
It's okay.
It caught on his collar. I thought it was all good. Then it
Well,
on his collar.
we cleaned out the barn today.
Uh-oh.
Because that's part of our agreement with Mom and Dad is that when the horses are being fed inside, it needs to be done every 6 weeks. But 6 weeks would have put us right around Valentine's Day, and it worked better just to do it ourselves
when
anyway.
They weren't there.
So we did that today, and General walked up on it. So like Nolan skid steered the poop from the middle onto the side where the cows are. Anyway, so there's a big pile of poop before he scoops it outside. That's just how you do it. Anyway, General walks up on it, but it's like all fluffy, and he like sunk into his tummy pretty much of poop, and then he was just like standing there, and he looked at me, and then he just like laid over and rolled down the pile of horse poop.
What a gross boy.
I was like, it's a good thing we were planning on giving you a bath, because that's disgusting.
I didn't know he did that.
It was so weird. Also, funniest thing ever, not for General. He's traumatized. I didn't see what he was doing, but he got shocked.
Probably chasing a chicken.
He might have, but it's like higher than he is, so he must have stood up. He got shocked. He
Is there
yelped.
one down low?
No.
Oh.
He yelped, and he took off into the pasture. He ran like halfway down the pasture before he stopped. And his tail, Nolan's like, he heard a yelp, and then he just saw a black little dart.
Like I heard a yelp through music in my headphones and the skid steer noise.
Oh, poor boy.
And I was
dramatic.
in the barn.
It took him a minute or two to recover before he thought everything was going to shock him. He was like sitting by me just shaking. Anyway. He doesn't seem entertained by our stories.
No, I am entertained. Oh, you sweet baby. One of my cats puked on my book. It was my fault. I had it on the floor by my nightstand. He vomited on it.
I'm glad. I know it'll probably come because Roscoe's only 7. No, 8. He'll be 8 this year. I know it'll come, but I'm glad he's not like really a puker. He did when he ate grass, but now he's not allowed outside because it makes him very bad. And so occasionally I think he does if he eats or drinks too. But I'm glad he's not a puker.
I pulled out and like all my like ammo and stuff is in a range bag under my bed. Hopefully nobody that listens to this lives in my hood, otherwise they'll jack me. And when I pulled it out from underneath the bed, there was cat vomit on the top of it. I go, these animals, on everything I love, they know, and they want to destroy it. Luckily, it was it was so old, it was dried on there, so I just it just swept right off, and it just stained the fabric. So lovely. Didn't care anyway. Didn't leach inside of the bag, but
yeah,
I hate them, but I also like them. So
yeah.
I think I like them more than I hate them.
Okay, so before we start, we talk about cities.
Nobody said anything.
I think we've been started.
Well, I know, but I don't know I don't know where you're gonna start. Maybe you'll start at cat puke.
So I hit a marker when I finally sat down and got ready, and I just hit a marker there.
Oh, okay. Well,
me mentioning the marker.
Last week, talking about our our stuff and wild kids and everything, I had that one of the funnier stories that Nolan tells about him and a BB gun and his brother. And then I wanted you to maybe talk about you and Joey and BB guns and airsoft guns just for a minute, because it's just
Oh
so
yes.
funny.
Let's
Boys
hear
being
Nolan's.
boys.
Let's
So
hear
you
Nolan's BB
start.
gun story. I want
Well,
this.
I don't remember how old I would have been exactly, but my brother and I were shooting like a box we had set up at the end of my uncle's. We were on the porch, and then they had like, I don't know, like a 50 or 75 foot long path out to the driveway. And I just had like my uncle's one pump BB gun, just this old thing. And my brother had like like the ones that like wood stock that you would pump like that. And it might have been it was a BB gun and maybe a pellet gun. I don't know if it was both. I can't remember.
It was
But
probably both.
anyway,
I think I had one like that.
Anyway, he had shot a couple, and he went down to the box to look at the target, and he was down there forever. Like and I was getting impatient. He was just bent over looking at this box, and I kept telling him I told him to like move several times, and he didn't move. And finally, I started counting down from 10. And I did a real countdown from 10. Like, I think it was the
10
full
1.
10. Yeah, full 10 seconds. And I told him, I'm going to shoot at the end of 10. So I got to 1 and 0, and he was still bent over this thing in some tight jeans. And I just shot him right in the butt cheek. And he stood up. And I just remember there was like this pretty good sized bush off to the left, and he went and ran around that thing a couple times, hopping around, and then I know I did get into trouble, sort of. I don't remember what happened right at the moment, but I know my dad told me that I would not be able to get a gun for years. Like, it was going to be a long time because of that. And I think within a year or so, I had my first shotgun. So I don't know, maybe he'll have to tell us sometime his side of the story, what he remembers, but that's how I remember it. That I was like, it's just a one pump BB gun, it can't hurt that much at 50 or 75 feet.
Yeah.
But I was probably, I don't know, like anywhere from 8 to 10 maybe. So he was probably 11 or 12, I don't know.
Yeah, that's prime BB gun wars.
So that was my one experience of shooting someone with it. Well, I guess besides a paintball gun, but yeah.
But then, so 2 years ago, or was that last year? 2 years ago, we got Cade a BB gun.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
And so he would have been. Yeah, I asked before I bought it, but he was turning 6. And so I was like, is he too young for this, like in your guys' opinion? And she was like, no, that's great. So we got him
for his 7th birthday.
That would have been last year.
Was it last year? It might have just been
last
year.
So anyway, still too young, because I think the box says like 12 and up or something.
Yeah.
So.
Screw the box.
But it was so
the funny. The box also says not to shoot at anything alive.
And so she sent me a picture. And so, of course, if he's only 7, it's way too big for him. But he has, the butt of it up under his arm. He's got it. And she was saying he was actually hitting stuff pretty good. He got it figured out. And I was like, yeah, I guess not everybody has a grandpa and a dad like you had, where grandpa shortened, made you your very own butt.
The stock was too damn long, so grandpa made me a custom little one.
That's nice.
The stock was almost like a mare's leg pistol. The stock was like this long, just enough, and then finally it was too little. And same deal. Had to put it between your legs to cock it,
Yeah.
That's like that one that I was shooting. It was an all metal, like nice big round barrel, all kind of rusty metal, and it was just a lever action. I think one thing, boom, and it was old. Like it was, my uncle. I don't know how. I just remember back then thinking this thing has been around for 100 years.
Well, it's funny. I was telling Maddie today, little show and tell, but I was bored. I didn't work this weekend, so I was spray painting all my magazines
Oh,
because I was
nice.
really bored. And I did put a whole lot of time into it this time. But when I used to do that when I did airsoft, and I had time, I'd paint them one color and then mask off different designs, and then shoot another color over them quick, and they'd have all the geometric designs and everything. So it's been forever since I've done that. I was telling Maddie, I go, I sold my airsoft gun and bought a real one. It was like $400. I go, my dad wouldn't let me buy computers. He wouldn't let me. He wouldn't buy real guns for me, even though that was legal. You could. I think so. If you write on the paperwork, I'm buying this gun for him. In Idaho, you can buy a gun for a kid. But he would let me blow all my money I made working for him on stupid airsoft stuff, and the airsoft magazines were like $60 a pop because you had to get the good ones from Taiwan because Taiwan had the best motors and everything like that. And then we tear them apart and modify them, and heat treat springs and stuff like that. And that was, yeah. And then we did the BB gun wars. We'd go up to Spokane, go out to Reardon, and play with a bunch of people. And then come to find out, the people that play airsoft are two different kinds of people: young guys that want to have fun, and then guys that couldn't join the army because they had bone spurs. And those guys were sad sights. 40-year-old guys talking like you're in the army. It's like, bro, we're just shooting each other with plastic BBs and like a plywood shack. We don't have to go like at 12 o'clock, 40 meters. Like, we don't have to do that shit. You can just say that there's a guy over there and we're going to shoot at him. We don't have to go that into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've went down the YouTube tunnel of watching a guy, like watching an airsoft dude a time or two in my life.
Oh, it's fun.
Like,
I really enjoy
the guy I've seen, like, he's usually a sniper, and he's just taking dudes out from, like, he's got the whole scope that records everything, and you can see it. And I don't know if he does it in edit, but or if his scope just does it. I don't know, but it shows like when it hits someone, and maybe he does that. It does like a little,
okay. Oh, a little marker.
Yeah.
Oh, like okay, yeah. No, the guy we used to always watch was I think he was in Austria. He was like Milford.
This guy was somewhere over
there.
Mm.
Yeah, Novrich or something like that. Oh man, he was
probably
good.
the same guy. Yeah.
Oh, but we all wanted. His like airsoft gun. You could buy like a nice. I mean, nice like precision rifle. It's probably like a G note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's oh man, and that was like my next one I was gonna buy was like that. And BB Wars was fun. And trying to think of, we did one where we had to camp overnight. It was called like a milsim event, military simulation. It was just basically we had like this like mountain, and like the boundaries. It was huge. You'd never basically find the boundaries of the mountain, and then everybody had maps. It was fun. I mean, I would really like to do more of it. And
we should do something like that around here.
We probably
it was really good.
We probably could rig something up like that out here.
That'd be cool.
And I paid like $125 to go to it. Me, John, and Everett. And then Dad didn't want us to go by ourselves because he thought that we'd, I guess, be cornholing the whole time. So then Dad went with us. I don't know if you remember this. I was like,
he played?
No, Dad just took us up there because
okay.
the parents, I guess, trusted us that we weren't going to be cornholing. I don't know. It was like 3 hours away and then spend the night. And they're like, no, you can't go. And Dad's like, I guess I'll take him. No, I wish Dad would have played. Playing paintball with his family, that was the most fun I've ever had playing paintball. I mean, just the dumbest people on earth playing paintball.
He was just talking to us about it the other day because,
there was someone that wouldn't call out when he got hit, and so he got the guy. Who was that?
It was Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he'd get shot and wouldn't say he got hit, and so the one time, I guess he shot him, and I don't know if he called hit or not, but as he was walking away, apparently he just lit him up with like 20 more.
Yeah. Well, because he was also the one that took his mask off as Dad pelted him in the face.
Yeah.
On accident. Like, he didn't mean to hit him in the face, but like, he could have lost his eyeball. And Dad's like, you never take off your glasses again.
Like, we played very little, just us, like, I think Preston maybe played with some other guys, but I only played with like my brothers, and I remember I would always wear like either a hat or something with my mask, Like it wasn't. It was just like the fake. So, I think one time Cameron didn't have anything on, and he took one right on the top, like above the mask, on top of his head, and his hair.
Yeah.
Hair was covered in paint. And...
Yeah, I guess you would know more stories about that because Dad told us a couple. He told us about Eric, and then he told us that you guys were all shooting at a porcupine, and then one of the other uncles was like, "Stop shooting at that poor porcupine."
Well, that was kind of mean.
Is this when you guys would
that
go
is
down
kind
to...
of mean, but
yeah, it was mean. But
is this
we
when you
went
guys
like
would go
an
down
inch
to...
away.
Mm-hmm.
Is this when you guys would go down to Idaho Falls or what? Or was
Yeah,
that up here?
And the place we went was a rock quarry where they dumped all the
paintball place.
It was, but it wasn't. So like people went there and played paintball, but it was
you didn't pay.
And it was fenced, and it was an old rock quarry where they would dump their boulders. So you had like piles of boulders, probably like 60 feet high.
Oh wow! Okay.
And there was like 4 of them, and so you could like get on top of them. It was, and you know they're like the size of a Volkswagen, so you could like crawl in between them, and then there was like forests around it, and it was fun. I was pretty young, but I do remember that the thing was when you get hit with a paintball, you're supposed to yell "hit." And have you ever seen the Blues Brothers, Nolan? They go. Never mind. They go visit this. They go visit this nun, and the whole point of the movie is they're trying to raise money for the orphanage where they grew up. It's great. And one of them says like "damn it" in front of the nun, and she slaps him with a ruler, and he goes "ah shit," and then she slaps him, and then they just keep like yelling, like swearing. She keeps hitting him with the ruler. That's how it was. That Eric wasn't saying hit; he'd go like "ow, f, that hurt," and then Dad would shoot him again. "Oh, son of a gun!" And so like he would never say hit, and
but he was saying something.
Yeah, no, yeah, Dad should have. Well, Dad knew what he was doing. You know, that's his younger brother, so he was just lighting him up. And Dad said he had to stop shooting because he was laughing so hard he wasn't hitting him anymore. And then he gets shot in the butt, and that's when he took his mask off because he's trying to look at it. He's looking like this, and he can't see, so he takes his mask off, and then Dad hit him like right. He's trying to look at his butt where he just got shot, and he looked like a cheetah. It was so funny.
Oh my goodness.
That was really the most fun. Man, Patrick and I, we had we would always have we wouldn't shoot each other with the BB guns with the metal BBs, but we did like shoot around each other. You know, Patrick's 9 years older than me, by the way, so he knew what he was doing, and I was hiding behind something where my legs were showing. And he shot me right in the ball of the ankle and the ball of your foot. Oh my God, that.
Like an actual BB.
Like a copper
Yeah, with
BB.
a metal BB. That hurt so bad. I threw my gun. I started crying. He's like, "Oh, sorry. I didn't realize that would hurt." He knew what he was doing. He was like 20.
I didn't know
like
that
11.
would hurt.
You know what I mean? I was a kid. This was an adult. And, oh my God, it was so funny. The time I was pissed.
When airsoft came out, like I remember I was probably like 15 when people started having like airsoft pistols.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it had been out for a while at that point. That would have been like 2006, 7.
Mm-hmm.
Probably 2006, 2007. Some people started getting just like airsoft pistols, and I remember getting shot in the back by someone at pretty close range, and it did not make me very happy. So I don't know. That was just a spring-loaded pistol.
The most accurate one airsoft that I ever had was we bought these huge tubs of the pellets, or is that what they're called? BBs, plastic BBs, and they came with a free little pistol, like little teeny thing.
And that thing was
accurate. It was accurate, wasn't it, Matthew? You remember
Yeah,
those?
that thing was. I remember I got one and she got one, and her pistol was way better, and she would not let me use hers because I would break mine all the time.
Well, and he would have like the bigger guns too, and I would sometimes force myself to be part of the group when him and Joey would play, and then since my pistol
correct the record here? It was more you shooting us. You'd be like, "I'll play, but I want to be the only one with guns." And Joey and I were like, "Hell yeah!" It was fun. You never.
She was the only one with a gun. You guys were just running around.
No, she would bamboozle us into this. She's like, "Okay, the only way I'll play is if I'm the only one with a gun." We're like, "Okay, but if we tag you, you're out." And then it'll be like stuff like that, and then she'd just be shooting the absolute bejesus out of us. It was fun. Like Friday the 13th. It was kind of like that. It's kind of fun to be the guy getting hunted by Jason Voorhees. Look, she's in the barn. You dive out of the barn, get a BB in the back. It was great. So
Is
I
this
didn't
the
mean.
BB gun wars you were talking about, or did he
No,
Did he
I
have
think.
his incident with?
Well, I remembered. I forgot it was Patrick that shot him in the ankle. I knew someone did. I thought it was Joey, but I remember now that Patrick.
I guess it
And
does
then,
hurt pretty good. Like if say you had got shot in the butt with that, it would have hurt pretty good.
well, this was a bare ankle bone,
I
right
know.
on bone. So I'm thinking from further. This was like under a pickup. Wasn't he just on the other side of the pickup, or was he further away than
I
that?
can't remember. I
Like
don't
that
know if
could
we
have
were doing it
easily
around
went.
a pickup.
That could have easily went in your skin.
Yeah, it could have.
But
Those
it
those
did.
are metal BBs. They go at like 320, 380 feet per second.
Yeah.
They hurt
yeah.
pretty good. And it hit
There
me
was
right on the
a.
ankle bone. I
It wasn't just a
cried.
BB gun, but there was a guy where I grew up that was way older than me, but he had a BB stuck right here, like right on the in his temple area,
Ah.
and it was from. I always heard like it was from when you would pheasant hunt, like in the plains there. Like if you're walking through a field or anything, you usually would put like some blockers on the other end, so as you walk through, the pheasants run along in front of you, and then when they come to those people, then they'll flush up, you know. And I think he was one of those, and someone had shot in the distance, and it hit him. The one BB
Ouch.
came and got him, and they said it was too close to a nerve to. This is what was weird. I always heard it was too close to a nerve to remove, but for some reason he would sit around and go like this.
That makes
and
me
play with
extremely
it.
uncomfortable.
So if it's too close to remove, wouldn't it be more? It's not like you'd want to play with it inside your temple.
I think you'd want to cut that baby out.
Yeah.
Hey, going through airport security would have been that's a pain in the butt.
Oh yeah,
I don't have a bomb.
It's a BB.
It's just a BB.
I don't have a
temple.
bomb in my head. I swear to God, it's a BB from the war. You'd have to just.
You're not
tell
supposed
them
to say bomb at an airport.
But yeah, I actually did get hit with it. I would be a blocker sometimes, and someone had like it was a wait like probably a couple 100 yards away they had shot, and I'm standing there and I'd see him shooting at the birds, and all of a sudden like I heard something hit my vest. Like and I look and then I like as I looked down and saw it like fall to the ground, just one lone BB. It wasn't going very fast when it hit me, but
just
yeah,
enough,
I could just
like a little tap.
But like now that we're talking about that kind of
well, I'll tell you this.
Guy...
I have a story that bridges the two.
Oh, the guy that I was blocking him.
Yes, and talk about that.
And it was getting close. Like I would say the group that was coming was like 50 feet away, and the pheasants flew and like that they flew up behind me. The guy in front of me, he was like young, like he was a year or two younger than me, and I was hunting with say the youth group. They would all go out, and this guy was either the first year there or something, I don't know, but he like shot at an angle over the top of me.
You felt the wind blow by you?
I didn't, but it was still, I saw him like pull his gun up to his shoulder, and it was definitely angled above me, but it was straight over the top of me, and I was like, what, like he got chewed out by more than just me.
That's good.
I don't think I even really did chew him out, because there was other older people that were letting him have it, because I was like, you can't be doing that.
Anyway, what's your story to bridge?
We would go play airsoft out at White Pine Flats, and out there at the end of the road there's an old like log house, and it's across like this pasture and everything like that. And some guys were up there, and then you'd play airsoft in the house, so you play airsoft. That's what it was, right? Yeah. And then you'd have guys in the house and guys outside the house try and take the house. And the fun thing was for the uninitiated was to take your hunting rifle out there and just see if you could hit the house at like 600-700 yards, because you could shoot it and the wood would fly off of it. And the guys were in there playing airsoft, and there was guys shooting at it with their hunting rifles. And they were like bailing out of the house, jumping on the ground. So then they had a big sign that we'd stick on the side of the house, like caution, there's people here. And we were playing paintball with Tucker, Patrick, me, and somebody else.
This just blows my mind.
I wasn't there when that happened, but I was there.
Someone would just shoot at something and not like.
It was an abandoned house. I'm sorry, it wasn't a house somebody lived in.
Well, no, I know, but still,
okay. Okay.
I'm just saying, like, even because we ride horse around there. So, like, even if I was, like, over there, which, yes, a horse would be way more noticeable than people inside the house playing, but still, like, I can just not even imagine just shooting at something and being like, well, it's fun to shoot at it, but, you know, someone or something could be in there. Anyway, what were
And
you going to say about
so
paintball?
we were out there playing paintball in like the woods because it's real open with meadows in there. So
Mm-hmm.
people would shoot up the meadows, and there was like this like I don't know tree. It was almost like a peninsula of trees that went out into the meadow, and we were playing paintball kind of in there. And there was a break in the trees, and
Mm-hmm.
as we were playing paintball, somebody shot their rifle through that break in the trees at the other side of the meadow at a target, and the bullet snapped by us. We all hit the ground. It's like, game's over, get out of here. We're all screaming, stop shooting. I'm sure the poor guy that was set up shooting was just as mortified as we were when he, you know, freaking, 6 or 7 guys crawl out of the trees where he just shot at, like, ah! We're like, guys, game's over, hey,
If you hear the snap, I mean, something like, is this, there's
I
either
don't
a
know.
snap or a whiz. I don't know which one means it's closer.
I think it was. It
Like a,
was. It was maybe 20 or 30 feet, but it was close enough that you could. I think a whiz. I think it was a whiz. I think a snap is like it goes right past you, but you
I'm
could
gonna be
hear. You heard the bullet go past,
I'm
and it
gonna
was
be
like,
honest with both of you. I wouldn't want to hear either one of those noises.
I intentionally one time was in a somewhat a position like that. It was like the first time
You were
Preston was,
intentionally. You were like, "Hey, I hope someone
well,
shoots me," or what?
no, it was like the first time Preston was really doing some real long distance shooting, and we were on Gold Hill, and to get like 700 and some yards, he had to be on the another ridge, shoot across the road, and way up to a target.
Mm-hmm.
And
hmm,
so, but like the target, like he wasn't going to be able to see what he hit, so I was over there. Like I went and set the target up, and then I stood by the target, and he ranged me, and then I headed down the hill off to the right and laid behind a huge log.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I had him on speakerphone, and I was like, "Tell me before you shoot," because I wanted to know. And I'm like
hmm,
hunkered behind a log, well downhill, but still, and off to the right. But when he said he was going to shoot, I heard, I think it was a snap. I heard a
hmm.
snap, then I heard the gunshot through the telephone, and then I heard the gunshot just real.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was. I mean, he shot several times like that, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that it was a snap, but I'm not sure.
Hmm.
If we would watch Black Hawk Down, they tell
Yeah,
us
I say
in there,
that's where
but
that a
they're
snap
like,
means
oh
it's close. A whiz
yeah,
means yeah.
yeah. Whiz means they're
I
shooting
can't.
at you, and a snap means it's close, or I can't
Hmm.
remember
Well,
what. And
I
then
guess we'll
and
have
then
to
as
watch
soon
it.
as he says it, there's one close. He's like, now they're shooting at us.
Hmm. I had some
And I think
buddies
that's
that did
right
that.
before the guy loses his hearing. I think, isn't it those two guys? Maybe
Yeah.
not.
I had some buddies that did that. We had a spot we'd go shooting where there's a big ditch. It's maybe 6 or 7 foot deep, and
Mm-hmm.
then your targets were on the other side. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there for this, but they were. And the one guy was down there. He's like, "Just shoot over my head," because even standing up, that you weren't quite even. And so they were down there laying down, and he had all the recordings on his phone. This is what a 30-06, and the one guy was shooting just right over the top of the dirt, and he'd have his phone sitting up there, and he'd be like, and you'd have like, this is what 30-06 blowing like 4 inches away from your phone sounds like. And he's like, "It's cool. You should come out." And the guy,
Oh,
I didn't,
there's a
they didn't trust me enough to let me do
there's
the
that
shooting.
guy on YouTube. Is it
Don't say
uh,
it. Don't say it. No, he's going through a rough time right now. Been cheating on his wife. Everybody's abandoning him. We can't talk about him.
Grand?
Yeah.
Oh,
He just
Uh
said you
oh.
weren't supposed to talk about him.
Don't talk about it. He's been cheating on his wife. His editor left him. Everything is bad. Bad, bad, bad. No,
but
but
he
I saw
had
those
they did
videos.
stuff like that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
To hear what different ones sounded like.
Yeah, I despise him only out of jealousy because he lives the life I want. Like, having companies be like, "Yeah, here's 10,000 rounds in the gun. Let us know what you think." Like, damn, I don't even think I've shot 10,000 rounds in my life. He's
Change of
any
topic a little bit.
anyway. No, keep going. This is getting
But you
boring.
were talking about White Pine Flats, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure you remember. Is that last year? Yeah, last year on Mom's birthday, I always go horse riding with her. But last year
Mm-hmm.
it just didn't work. I had to work all day, and then her birthday's right around the Lewiston Roundup, and we like to go to every night of that. So Mom and Grandma went riding at White Pine Flats by themselves
a year and a half ago.
a year and a half ago. And I get a
Yeah.
call. Like I think she texted me a couple times, and then she called me. We were down at the rodeo with Dad. And so she called me, and she's like, it's dark, in September by, what, 5?
By
6
o'clock.
36,
6
right?
o'clock. Yeah, 6 o'clock. And so she called, and by then it's like dark. And she's like, we are still on our ride and we are lost. And I'm like, oh no. And so I kept telling her, send me, like, go to your maps and then send me like a screenshot. I don't know what she was doing, but I never got that. She kept sending me something, but I think she was zoomed in on the road, so it just looked all road. And I kept telling her, zoom out a little bit. Like, I just need to see where you are.
You give me like a 2-mile square.
Yeah. And she wasn't able to get it. And of course, I don't exactly know how having an iPhone and then her having a Samsung, they just don't really correlate very well.
Yeah,
And
whereas
so,
the iPhone, I could send you a pin of where I'm at.
Yeah. I was trying to explain a pin to her. She couldn't get that either. And I don't know, maybe Samsungs don't even do that.
I'm sure they do.
But so I went back and I told the boys, I'm like, we have to go get Mom and Grandma. And Nolan was mad because he likes the Roundup, and he was mad that we had to go save him. And I was like, well, the thing is like, we know some people that are here. So if you want, I can just drive up and you guys will just have to get a ride with some of these other people. Like, not that we know them like friends, but we know who they are. So it wouldn't be like asking your friend, hey, can I have a ride? It would have been like asking someone that you've met maybe twice, hey, can you give us a ride? We know you live near Potlatch also.
Yeah.
And they, of course, didn't want to do that because it wasn't a very good idea. But I was like, well, we got to go help them because they're not going to be able to figure it out. And she's freaking out. And, Mom, not the best in some situations.
Oh, yeah.
And
when the stress is on.
And so I was like, okay, well, we're just going to load up the side-by-side or the four-wheeler. I was like, I know where they are. She just wasn't, like, from what she was saying, I knew exactly where they were because we've been out there enough times that all the roads lead back to where you need to be. Yeah. It just depends on how long you go on that road. It doesn't matter which road you take, it will lead back to where you're parked.
Or you can get to Spring Valley if you're really creative.
Exactly, yeah. That's where she thought... That's where she thought she was. She thought she was almost to Spring Valley, which at least I knew, okay, she's at least that direction. And I was like, and then she's like, there's big rocks. And I knew they just logged up there like 3 or 4 years before that because we went riding up there and they had the big old rocks because we turned around because the horse's feet, it was not great. And so I knew where she was and I was like, okay, well, you just need to keep going on that road. And she was like, I'm just scared. Grandma's tired. It's dark. The horses are tired because they had been out for a long time. Anyway, so we're going. Dad, of course, starts freaking out too, calling the sheriff, telling Mom to call the sheriff. And I was like, you guys, I know where they're at.
Mom's phone was dying. Grandma's phone wasn't working.
No one believed me. But Dad's like, okay, so we did.
Trying to get
the 911 lady did get a pin, and guess what? They were right where we said they were. Yeah, I said they were.
They had to track the phone. And
so we got in the side by side, and we got Grandma and Grandpa, or Grandma and Mom. Nolan and I got on the 2 horses, and so we rode the horses back, and Dad took Grandma and Mom in the side by side. But it was like a whole thing, and I was like, I'm never gonna let you go off by yourself again.
Because once you had got the pin, you told her just to turn around, and so they were. Not like they were a mile or more away from the...
Yeah, they weren't too far.
And then, so then they were riding, 3 in the side-by-side.
And it was before he had the doors.
Yeah, but no doors yet. And he went around the gate at the bottom, and there was a big hole, and just tipped Grandma right out.
Grandma wasn't holding on good, huh? I didn't hear that Grandma got spit out.
And then when we got back, they're all fighting because Nolan and I, of course, were like way behind them on the horses, even though we were loping. Like, of course, they were way, way in front of us. And we get back and they're all yelling at each other. We're like, what did we miss? And Mom's like, your dad just dumped Grandma out of the side by side.
And I don't know. The one story was dumped. The other story was that she just stepped out. So
yeah, Grandma said she just stepped out because she said it looked like it was going over and I didn't want to be part of that. So
Grandma's like, I got to get out of here. I know this ain't where I want to be.
So I'm not sure if she plopped out on the ground or if she just stepped out and walked away. So I'm not sure. But
it's probably a mix of the two. She probably stepped out and landed on a butt.
Yeah. Anyway,
or maybe she'd even hit the ground. That's so funny.
So now when I think about White Pine Flats, that's all I can think about. And so, yeah, anyway.
Because, yeah, it was, we were in pitch black on the horses, and you were on Winnie. Which Grandma had been riding, right?
Yeah, and I was on Ruger.
And I don't know what kind of legs Grandma has, but I could not hardly reach the stirrups.
That's probably why she was so tired. She hadn't had a foot in a stirrup all day long.
Like we're running along.
I couldn't reach Mom's stirrups either. And so, yeah, we were just trotting along. Ruger is so clumsy, though. He kept tripping, but my feet were not in the stirrups. I think Winnie tripped once and your jewels got crushed.
And like the one time it knocked my one foot out of the stirrup because I couldn't see. We're just loping, just trusting that the horses can see.
Well, we kind of had our flashlights, but like down.
So it wouldn't blind
like not
the
over
eyes.
them because that messes up their eyes, but like down, like straight down our legs. So we could.
For some reason, then Rusty was with us.
Rusty was with us,
and for some reason, Rusty took a left on a road, and the horses thought it was a good idea to try to.
And then we were laughing because that's why they got lost. They must have been following Rusty's guidance. Rusty's like, "Come on, guys, this way."
If they had just let Winnie would have taken back to the pivot. Probably.
That's what Mom always told me when I would ride with you guys. Is she would always say the horses know the way back to the rig.
Yeah.
She'd say if you ever get lost, the horses know how to get back to the trailer.
Well, for sure, yeah. So I don't know why they weren't trusting them because Winnie would have. She likes going home, so she would have been like, "This way."
That's why don't
follow Rusty.
I'll have to have Grandpa when I go in March tell the story. But he said he used to have a horse that if he got free, he was going for the trailer. And Grandpa said that the horse got away from somebody, and the trail back to the trailer went like around the mountain, and Grandpa was running in White's work boots up over the top, and he said he caught that horse in the middle of the trail. And I go, "Oh, that's so funny." He was talking about. He goes, "I knew it was like 4 miles back. If I didn't go straight up and straight over and catch him there, I was gonna walk all day back and then have to ride that horse all the way back." He goes, "I ran uphill in my logging boots." It's like I have to have Grandpa tell that. He had me. That was when I was back in December. I was laughing so hard I was crying. He goes, "I never ran so hard in my life." He goes, "I never did sports. I was no good at PT in the Army, but he goes, I caught that horse that day." He goes, "I was out of breath when he came around the corner and he saw me and he knew he'd been had."
But I think
Grandpa's one of the funniest, not funny guys there is. Like you would not look at him and go, "This guy's hilarious," but he is. He is so funny.
Once we got on the horses, it was actually then I was having fun. Going back, like that was probably the most Western thing I've done. I mean, we left a rodeo to go do something probably definitely more Western than sitting in the stands.
Yeah.
Because I was not in, I don't think I was, I'm pretty sure I was in like street shoes. And,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which is.
And then, my newbie, horse guy was just like, "Well, get on and she'll just we're going to slope so we get back at a decent time." And
we walked on the rocks.
Yeah, the big rocks, but then it turned
I know what you're talking about. It's like the crushed boulders or whatever, cobbles. They're about the size of.
Yeah.
And like,
those are tough
I was
to walk
trying to keep
on
Winnie off of them, like even in the grass to the right of him. And then once we got off those, it was off from him.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. And well, Matthew, he used to have himself a horse that only liked him, kind of like Sentinel only likes you, really. Jack. And when
until you guys sold him to a rodeo girl from underneath me. My heart's never recovered, by the way.
I'm so sorry. It wasn't me that sold him. He was Mom's horse.
Is that him in the background there?
No. But
that sorry, it's backwards. That's a limited edition. That artist killed himself. We found
Oh
that
my
at
gosh.
Goodwill. I think he's dead now.
Oh,
Well, if he killed himself, he probably is dead.
I'm hoping that's a gold mine. I'm hoping it's an absolute gold mine. We saw it at Goodwill. I like horses. So I painted. Sorry, it's all backwards.
No,
This one.
oh,
I
that one
painted
right
that
there.
one. That's a
you
ski
did?
slope. Oh yeah.
Okay. I
I
like it.
can't paint very good.
I like it.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I painted.
But yeah, so when we used to be able to ride on Glenwood before they put locks on all the gates,
Mhm.
Oh, did
we
they
would
do
go
that?
riding, and there would be cows out between some of the gates, and so Jack and Matthew and me and Winnie would kind of chase the cows, like kind of herd them or
This is
whatever.
probably the reason they locked you guys
Well,
out
we
of
didn't
there.
totally chase them. It was like
we got
it
people out
wasn't
there
like
just,
we were just running them or anything. We
got
were
people
just
out
kind
there
of felt
herding
like
our cows.
it kind of felt like we were cowboys. We were kind of herding it, and then it would go off, and then like another one, and then we weren't like running them or anything. We were just kind of hurting them in a way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dark twisted fantasy is I'm secretly wanting to get back into horses, but I don't know when I'll have the time and or money for that. So I don't know if it'll
Well,
ever happen.
we have horses and we don't have the time or the money.
Oh,
So
I see.
Oh, I was just gonna say, are you like encouraging him that he could have horses too?
Yeah, 'cause
I was
you
just
don't
gonna
need-
say we already have horses, so if you ever move back,
Yeah.
then you can just share our horses, you know.
We don't have the time or the money, so you don't need time or money to have a horse.
But hey, ours, once they're out here, it'll be so nice because you can just, yeah, if you move back, when you move back, hopefully, you can just
If.
come
What gave you the impression there's an if involved?
when you come back. If you want to go riding, you'll be able just to put on a saddle and away you go.
Well, you might. It sounds like you might be into the city life, so
Yeah, let's
Oh,
talk
I
about
love the
city
city.
life.
I had to go down to one of the buildings downtown, right across from the Capitol. Which, if you ever go to Denver, the Capitol building, the roof, it's almost like the U.S. Capitol. It's a nice domed roof with like a pinnacle on it, and then you could look out from there. Is hammered gold, really flat. I mean, gold you can pound it like infinitely flat, so I'm sure it's like an ounce of gold. But it's this beautiful building, gold roof, marble columns, and then there's like 80,000 homeless people smoking fent like right outside of it. It's lovely.
perfect.
And like all the like vacant areas that aren't like lawn are like big rocks where they're like a weird size. They're like basketball size, so you can't like sleep in them. You can't really sit on them. They're not big enough for you to sit on them comfortably. And then there's like a bus lot there. And so I had to go down there. And of course, there's no parking. I paid $15 to park for like 10 minutes. And I had to go into this government facility to pay them $10 to take my pictures so I can get into a different state building for some work. And I say my boss had to pay that. And I was walking down the street and I was like, man, this place is crazy. So I went down there with my boss, who's lived in Colorado his whole life. Like, it was spring or summertime, so 6, 7 months ago. And he's like, I haven't been downtown in like 15 years. It's crazy down here. And that's where there was this guy crossing the street, and a car honked at him. There was this old lady. She had a walker, and all these are all homeless people. And the car honked at him, and she goes, you crazy. And she used some foul word calling the guy this. And she looked up and saw my boss, and she goes, sorry for my language, and then just kept using her walker to walk. My boss is 6'6", and I was like, dude, I think that she offended you. And he goes, I've heard worse. But it's funny. She called this guy a dirty name and looked at him, sorry for my language. Like, was she being demeaning to you? I don't know. Maybe she was genuinely upset, that she used foul language wrong. So maybe she thought he was a cop. I don't know, but... And I was thinking about that. And then Maddie and I, we like going to concerts. And the only other thing that really stands out is it was a real busy night, so we parked a long ways away from the venue. And I didn't mind the walk. It's kind of fun to walk in the city at night through some of these neighborhoods that are sleepy. And we got on like Colfax, which is like Sprague up in Spokane. It's where all the nightlife is at. And this dude was dragging a logging chain, probably like a 6-foot chain.
What?
And walking and yelling on the sidewalk about 15 feet behind Maddie and I while we're walking. And he's just going crazy. If you don't bother those people, they don't bother you. I say that. A United Airlines stewardess and 4 other people got stabbed like 3 weeks ago. right after Christmas. So most of the time, if you don't bother them, they don't bother you. And we're far enough ahead of this guy, and he's yelling at traffic or whatever. And wouldn't you know it, we get to a light that we have to stop, and it's traffic, so it's busy, so you can't jaywalk. And the guy comes and he's dragging the chain, and he stands right behind us, and Maddie is giving me the side eye.
I would be too.
I'm like, I can't fight. I'm built like a girl. Like I don't have a gun because we're about to go to a concert venue. I don't have a knife. I don't have. The only thing I have.
You don't have a chain.
You don't have a logging chain.
I don't have a 6-foot chain. And luckily, and then eventually he jaywalked. He didn't care about traffic, dude. And so he jaywalked, and I was like, he got ahead of us. And Maddie was like, "What do we do?" And I go straight over, and then keep trucking up. So I run into him again. But it was funny. Yeah.
Wow.
I would have probably peed my pants in that situation.
No, it was a little sketchy. I was kind of thinking, and then if you're ever surrounded by homeless people, you gotta walk like them. So you gotta walk like you got shot in the hip in like Vietnam, and they never dug the bullet out. If you do that and then act like you have no money, which hey, that's not hard to do. They don't bother you. I don't carry cash anyway, so.
We came out of the theater in downtown Spokane, and it was like, was it 11:30 or was it after midnight?
Yeah, it was like 11:30.
Anyway, it was like a late movie, and we came out, and so like we had to take the escalator up to like almost the top floor for the theater that we went into, because there's two floors of theaters.
Yeah. I know what you're
so
talking.
We came down, so then on like where you can check in, there was popcorn like everywhere, and so it was like a weird sign. And then we went down a level, and then on that level there were 2 security guards picking up one of those big pots that they have kind of in the middle of the
like
aisles.
A 3-foot tall.
Yeah, one of those really big ones that they have full of like 50 plants. And they were kind of picking it up, and as we were going down like the next escalator, you could see, or I watched this guy, he sat down on the escalator and rode it down, got on it, rode it up, rode it down, sitting down, rode it up, and then like by the time we got there, he was going down again, and then we were going down. But it was like kind of strange, but I was kind of watching it like, what?
Not homeless.
No,
They were like the street youths.
Yeah, street youths, like Schmidt and New Girl.
Yeah, street youths.
And,
I hear you.
And like him and his buddy, they seemed like they were just causing problems. They didn't have any kind of issues or homeless or anything. But I had kind of a weird, feeling or whatever. I was like, I kind of just have a strange feeling, but I don't do well in the city. I'm not a city life person. I would have died with the guy having a chain behind me. I would have just been like, I'm stepping out in front of a car because this is better.
Just gonna keep running here or walking. We weren't running.
But yeah, so then they go outside, and then like we're just walking, and the security guards kind of they go down the escalator, but then they like quick walk outside past us, and then we're like, oh my gosh, maybe they're gonna tackle them. I don't know why we thought the mall security was going to go tackle them, but we were wanting to watch them really kick some butt.
I mean, these dudes, these mall they weren't like your Paul Blart mall cop.
Oh, no.
They were serious.
Yeah, they were buffed up dudes.
Yeah, and these 2 were not. Like, they were just, street youths. They weren't like...
And so they go outside.
They're like yelling at each other, and then by then, these guys had ran like a block down.
They got to Red Robin to that one door.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They weren't down a block yet. They had just crossed the street by Red Robin, and they were like opening every door as they went by. And so like Red Robin, that would have been like into the kitchen area, which I don't know why that's unlocked, but I guess I've never just randomly opened doors as I've gone down the street.
Yeah.
Well, and then they're like yelling at each other, kind of.
Yeah, the security dudes are yelling, and saying that if they come back, they'll arrest them.
Yeah, and then they took off running, and we really wanted to see the security guards run after them, because if they would have ran after them, these 2 hooligans, they would have probably tripped on their own feet and face planted, and we were rooting for that.
They were definitely under some sort of influence.
Yeah, they were something, but like they would not have been able to run away, and it would have been hilarious, and we were rooting for that, but it didn't happen. So yeah,
they probably had to just go back up into the mall and finish sweeping up their potting soil and everything
Yeah,
else that was on the
what a pain.
ground.
I mean, that's not really a too weird of a city story, but that's just what popped into my head. That's what happened one of the
When we went
last times.
to
Downtown
Arizona
Spokane is
for Christmas,
Yeah.
we missed a gun battle down the road, like 4 blocks down the road.
Oh my goodness,
I
really?
saw it on the news when I was there. I was like, oh man, we would have. It was like probably the 23rd it happened.
It
Yeah.
sounds like Arizona is a wild place. Driving and all kinds of stuff. Hannah sends us news stuff all the time, and from what she said, like Arizona's wild. I think it might be more Phoenix, at least Phoenix area, way more wild than Denver, Colorado. I think.
Oh, Phoenix is crazy. Well, that's like the first big stop once you get across the border.
And so it might be getting cleaned up.
Maybe. Who knows?
I think so.
In
Supposedly,
the next little while, there's going to be some deportations.
Supposedly, they're doing a lot here in Denver, but I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, the mayor wasn't gonna. Denver mayor, he wasn't gonna help out. But what's the border guy? Tom Homan, is that?
Yeah, he said he didn't care.
He didn't care if the mayor was gonna help or not.
Yeah, well, the Venezuelan gang, they weren't as crazy as the news made it sound, but there's quite a few of them, and I think they've got 3 or 4 of them in custody that they're going to send back now. It could even be more than that.
Venezuelan government is helping take them back, and they released U.S. hostages that they had, and they're taking back their criminals.
Venezuela had...
I don't know how they had U.S. hostages.
Okay, so this is a funny story, and I know that they'll never listen to our podcast. But there's a place that I clean, and they would lean to the left. They have a sticker that says "Friends."
They fall to the left.
They have a sticker that says "Friends don't let friends vote Republican." And so I'm there, and at this point, the husband was there just for like the weekend to take care of stuff at home because the wife was up in Spokane and she had to be at the hospital and stuff. But
this was shortly after the election, like within a week or two after the election.
Okay.
And so he's coming upstairs to tell me what he would like me to do for the day to help out, to get the house in order. And his wife calls, and they're old, and so it's on speakerphone, so I could hear the whole conversation, and I had to just stand there with a straight face because it was so funny. So the wife calls and she says, my brother says that Steve, I'm just going to pretend his name's Steve. So their son-in-law, Steve, is going to get deported. And the husband goes, well, why did he say that? And she's like, well, because Trump is deporting immigrants. And George goes, he's here on a visa because green card because he's married to their daughter, who's a U.S. citizen, and he's a heart surgeon. So I don't think he's at the top of the deportation list. And she's like, are you sure? I just don't want him to have to go back to Chile. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, I think that they're doing heart surgeons.
I don't think they're coming for the son-in-law, to be honest with you. He's here legally and he's a doctor, which you would only be able to be a doctor if you were here legally.
And a high up.
Yeah. I was like, that's what you can see, though, that's what the news does to people, is if they watch the news, they stop kind of thinking. They're just like, ah!
If you weren't born here, you're gone.
That's what they make it seem like. I know that it was like that with the Venezuelans, is they made it seem like the city was just overrun with them. You couldn't go outside without getting accosted. And it was, it was just like a neighborhood.
It was like a couple apartment buildings or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the people in the surrounding neighborhood, I don't know. There was different. It was cool.
Still not ideal.
They did they rolled a bunch of jewelry stores. They did high value jewelry heists. They found out that it was the Venezuelan doing it. They did like 4 of them. And they got away with like $1 million every time. And they just went in and smashed the glass in the middle of the day. And I go, is it that easy to become a millionaire? Like, what am I doing working in my life? Like, you can just go into a jewelry store and be a millionaire? Like, that easy?
Or did you
but
ever
then they
see
caught them
when
all, so.
Did you ever see when the biker gang showed up to fight the Venezuelans?
It never happened.
I saw a video of them there.
You saw a video?
Yeah. Yeah, there was it was a YouTube video posted by the biker gangs. They were there. They rolled in Venezuela, and they're like,
Denver.
or
They
yeah, they
rolled
rolled
Little
into the
Venezuela.
Venezuelan neighborhood.
They went down to Venezuela.
No.
They turned the tables.
No wonder I didn't see them, man.
Yeah, no, they rolled into the neighborhood where the Venezuelans were and were hoping to run them out of town, I guess, because these biker gangs were saying that they're like, we're the ones that invented gangs here. We know how a gang is. You guys aren't. Anyway, I think they were really there. Like from what I saw, they were there, which I don't know if they did anything. They probably had their baseball bats and whatever, but I don't know if anything ever went down.
Oh,
That's
they
why you
probably
can't
rolled through.
Yeah, I didn't see any real action.
But
It was just them yelling at cameras.
Oh, there
But
would have
that's
been a
like-
gun battle. We would have found out about it.
But that's why you can't like you're saying, it wasn't as bad as the news was portraying it, and that's why you can't really trust a lot of what you see.
Is that what we're saying? In case your mom listens to this.
No, it wasn't bad at all. I mean, I wasn't. I worked in Aurora a lot, and I was never accosted. But yeah, no, I had one of our uncles was asking me about it. He goes, "Is it bad over there? You got to get out of there." I go, "Nah, dude, that's just the news trying to scare you." I go, "Maybe it's that bad, like 12 blocks that way, but not up here. Not up here in my hood. They know me. They know to stay clear of this block."
Because I mean, Aurora is still pretty big, but
Oh,
I would
yeah.
say if you were within a few blocks of that neighborhood, you probably would want to keep your head on a swivel.
I was waiting for a gunshot or something to go by, but that was. I'm trying to think what else has happened here. Nothing really.
Okay, so one of the crazier things that you told me, well, actually, there's a
Uh-oh.
couple. So there's
Some of these
two
are lies.
there's two stories that I want you to tell, but I don't know if you can tell the one because I don't know if your boss knows about it.
No.
Okay, so not that one then.
The dog one?
No.
Oh.
The van.
Stop. We'll put a marker right there. No more.
Okay,
No less.
so yes, I want you to say the dog one because that's hilarious. But
Okay.
as for crazy things, though, you told me one time you were in Boulder because people were putting dynamite into urinals, right? Is that
Oh,
what you
yeah,
told
they're
me?
stuffing M80s and flushing them down the
Okay.
toilet. Watch the toilet explode.
That was one of the crazier things. That was like,
An M80, like a firecracker.
Yeah,
It
big
would
one.
blow up a toilet.
he told me
Yeah.
that, and I
Like
was
I know
like,
the M80s are big, but
well, he
it'd blow
told
up the
me that, and
porcelain,
I was
huh?
like, I don't think I even said anything when Matthew said that because I was like, is he yanking my chain or is this a real
But-
thing? Like, I'm totally shocked by this.
I
Like,
wish I
was
would
it
have
a
got
waterless toilet?
pictures. No.
It would stay
M80s will
burning.
blow up underwater, buddy.
They'll stay lit underwater.
Yeah. Well, the fuse. I don't know if it was M80s, but it was fireworks.
Big
So
fireworks.
it was at North Boulder Park in North Boulder Park. We went in there because all the toilets were exploded, and so they had swept up all the shards. But it looks like just if you imagine with your head what a toilet with a firework that got flushed in it. No, the whole front was blown off of it. I wish I would have got pictures. And so we had to swap the urinals, and then we swapped the toilets. They didn't ruin the urinals, but we decided that's why they think that they did it is because the fixtures were getting outdated and they weren't working very well. That's what the city told us. That it was like in protest. But then when we went back
This was
in
like
2 weeks,
this was like the people that was working in the building.
yeah.
This
So
is
it was just like 2 bathrooms in like a park. That was all it was. And then so we swapped all the fixtures, and then when we came back in 2 weeks to put cheap replacements in because it happened yet again over the weekend, they realized that was they weren't doing it with protest because the fixtures were old when they
the
got
brand new ones
new
were blown up.
Oh, no.
And then so then they remodeled the whole bathrooms, and we put penal fixtures in, or PENAL, not PENILE, penal fixtures, so like from a prison.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, that joke didn't land. No, fuck me, I guess it's okay. But I said penal. Never mind. Anyhow, so they're all metal, and then they're all like into like big cast iron flanges. So when you flush them and it blows up, it's all in the steel piping. It doesn't damage anything, and it's like stuff you put in prisons.
That's so wild that's what you got to do to keep people from blowing up the
It
toilets.
was, I don't know.
You got to do bomb safe urinals.
And it was after the 4th, and then so school was out, so it was high school kids doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then like I said, it was right after the 4th, so somebody had got hands on a bunch of fireworks, and then they ran out of fireworks, and I haven't been back there since. But then again, it's metal fixtures, so if you can blow those up, I think you're taking the wall off.
You're doing more than an M80 or something.
Yeah, it's a hand grenade if you're damaging those with an explosion.
That's C4?
Yeah.
Is that C4?
You pack it in there real tight and it blows up.
You know the reference?
What is it?
Chris Tucker and...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Is that Rush Hour 2?
That's first one. Is that C4?
The first...
That's C4.
Those are hilarious.
Rush Hour is good.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Okay, now the dog one, because again, that's a story I've told everyone that I know, but I do not do it justice for the way you tell it. So please tell us about the dogs.
The dog one's so funny, I don't even have to embellish. Because I had to go, there was a toilet that was leaking when they flushed it at this house that we did. So I went over there to check it out. And, so I get in there and I meet the homeowner, and her son is home. He's sick from school. And so he's on the couch watching TV. And so I said, I'll just be like 15, 20 minutes, pull it, reset it, make sure everything's good to go. I'll be out of your hair. And she goes, well, I'm going to head into work. My son will be here. If you need anything, I don't foresee myself needing anything, but thanks for letting me know. So I get the toilet, pull it, reset it, fix it. It's all doing good, not leaking no more. I pick up my garbage, I take it out to my van, and then I go back in, make sure I'm all cleaned up good, load up my tool bag, which weighs about 85 pounds because I have every possession I own in there. And I have that, and I get my towel under one arm and my tool bag, get to the door, get the door open, get it closed, go out to my van, get my tool bag in there. I'm like, okay, I'm taking count. I got everything. All right, we're all good to go. I look back at the house, and there's a dog sitting at the front door looking right at the door. I go, crap. I must have left the door ajar when I had my tool bag, and I let that dog out because I had dogs in the house. So I run over there, or walk over there, and I grab this dog by the collar, and I knock on the door because I told the kid inside, hey, I'm done. See you later, you won't see me anymore. I knock on the door with the dog. I got it by the collar, so it won't go nowhere. Kid answers the door. I say, hey, man, I let your dog out, I think, by accident. And he goes, oh, okay. I go, yeah, is he? And the kid didn't seem concerned. I go, is he okay for the dog to be outside? He goes, no, you can let it in. So I let the dog go because the dog is trying to go in the house. I let the dog go, and the dog takes about 6 steps in the house, and the dogs inside go berserk. And I go, oh, man. I go, man, he's not popular with them today. And the kid goes, yeah, that's not my dog. I go, what? I go, that's not your dog. He goes, no, that's the neighbor's dog. And at this point, these two dogs have this dog cornered, and it is pissing like a fire hose on the ground. And then the dogs are starting to fight in the piss, so there's piss going everywhere. And this kid is mortified because now the dogs are making a mess while his mom's out of the house. And so he's grabbing his dogs because they're not like biting each other, fighting yet, but you know how dogs are. They're like an inch away barking. Yeah. And I break rule 0. You're not supposed to break up dogs fighting. I grab this dog by the collar and I drag it. And he goes, put her in the garage. I go, it's not your dog. Put it back outside. And he goes, no, put it in the garage. She can go in there. I'm okay. And I get this dog and I throw it in the garage and we close the door. And there's piss everywhere. And this kid just grabs the roll of paper towels and just puts the whole roll in the pile of piss. And when I say kid, this kid's 12 to 14. So like, he should have known better than to let me let this dog in the house. And I did what any professional would do. I said, I'll see you later. You know?
Have a good day.
I go, you got all your dogs in the house, huh? And I got up to the van. And I called my boss immediately. I said, dude, you won't believe this. He goes, what's going on? I go, the toilet swap went smooth. I go, but if you get a complaint, I go, the kid let me let a stray dog in the house. And it a mess.
that the kid is just like,
that's not my dog.
Just let it in, and then he's like, oh, he's not very popular, and then he goes, it's not my dog.
That's why I wish I could just plug my finger into the TV screen and show you guys exactly from my point of view, because that was like the most surreal. Like, it was chaotic. I got in my van and I sat down. I was like, what? There's no way that just happened. That kid just let a stray dog in the house. I guess it was the neighbors from down the street.
And then the kid ruined a whole roll of toilet paper if he just set the whole roll, because now
he didn't even start taking it off.
Side.
He just put the whole roll in the puddle, and I mean, it's everywhere. I flipped there was a rug on the ground. It was like fake hardwood. I don't know, like vinyl plank floor. I flipped like a rug up because it was going for the rug, and I was like, this is like an hour cleanup. I can't sit here. Especially when the extent of this kid's knowledge is just put the whole roll in the middle of the puddle. I was like, oh,
he's like, I can't help with this situation.
Yeah, but I had to tell my boss just in case the lady called. You're not allowed a dog. And I go, he told me to. You know my side of the story now.
Oh goodness. Well, maybe on that we should call it a day.
I wish I had more fun stories like that. That was once in a lifetime.
Between bombs and toilets and dogs being let in and peeing all over the house, maybe we should call it quits. So
okay, that's good.
Unless you have anything else you'd like to tell us.
No, I have nothing else yet.
Okay, well, then we can end it and we'll see you again next week.
For sure.